Okay, my Married at First Sight Nashville fans, we got to talk about this particular episode. It was pretty good, but it looked like it's just the tip of the iceberg. First, we still are in Jamaica with the honeymoon excursion. They're still really getting to know each other. And there's a few bumps in the road. And then we also got to talk about the attraction factor or the lack thereof with a couple of our folks. Welcome back to Romance Review TV. It's Lady T. Got another recap for you guys. Married at First Sight, Nashville, season 16, episode number 5. It's all about the journey. And without any further ado, let's talk about this episode. So in this particular episode called It's All About the Journey, the newlyweds strengthen their bonds and hit some bumps along the way and getting to know one another. So let's talk about this. So it's the first full day in paradise for our couples as we see them waking up and one couple beginning their journey as Shaq and Kirsten make their way to paradise following a minor delay for his academic presentation. Then, while they're going through all of those rigors of traveling, we see Nicole is served with breakfast in bed by Chris as they talk about the importance of having deep conversations early in their marriage, which is extremely important. And I think this couple is starting off very strong, so I like what I'm seeing. And then we also have Eris and Jasmine. And of course, we saw Eris teasing her about all that bacon that she eats. And hey, as much as bacon is good, I had to cut back too. I had to get rid of it. However, they reflect on past relationships and admitting that he, meaning Eris, wasn't ready in the past. And that's why his relationships failed back then. And his honesty pushes Jasmine to open up about her mom going through chemo and feeling appreciative to have his support through all of the struggles, which was good to see. And he said that he's going to be there, show up at the hospital, and especially since her mom really likes him. Then we have McKinley and Dominique. So they have a sit-down breakfast. They discuss their optimism about the experience of being married at first sight, which, this couple is one to watch. They look all sweet and romantic right now. Yeah, it's not looking too good with what's coming up over the next several weeks. And if you haven't checked out some of those clips, go to my Instagram. You'll see what I'm talking about. And finally, Shaq and Kirsten arrived at the resort where they were greeted with fruity beverages. They checked out their room, and of course, she is excited. I mean, as much as she did finally support him for his presentation, she is more than excited to be in Jamaica, and they look so cute together. Even though I've seen them, a lot of their body language seem like they really, really like each other. We'll see later on in this episode that there's a little bit of off of attraction with one of them, and you already know who that is. But at this point, they seem to be vibing really well. Then we also had Gina and Clint. They went on this whole special excursion that involved driving to a waterfall where they hoped to hike and swim. Unfortunately, the road was washed away from a storm, and so their rerouting results in delays and uncertainty. However, ultimately, they did reach their planned destination where they take in the sights of the waterfall. They got some hiking in, and they finally did get to swim. We did also see Clint give her a commendation for her keeping her cool amongst all this chaos. Well, don't get too comfortable, Clint. Meanwhile, we did get to see McKinley and Dominique sail around their resort on their little water excursion. We also had Shaquille and Kirsten go on an ATV ride, which scares him, just mildly. But you know what? He got the courage. He took that ATV by the handles and he decided to push forward, especially splashing all that water around. And actually, Kirsten saw him in a different light. We then saw that Jasmine and Eris decided to go snorkeling, and they were having a lot of fun together. I mean, as much as his beard was getting in the way and salt water was getting in his nose and mouth, they were doing a lot of kissing and canoodling under the water, which I thought was pretty interesting, especially when everybody was saying that he was not attracted to her. But it seemed like they really are building upon a strong connection until we talk about that little candlelight dinner later. As for Chris and Nicole, they decide to do a private rum tasting, and all that alcohol they was putting back, I didn't know if they were going to make it through, but obviously they carry their alcohol pretty well. And then we also saw them doing some new dance moves with that waiter. And then she got a little candid about how she doesn't drink much because that's part of herself and how she's been wanting to improve on that. But other than that, these two are doing great. So now we got some chill time. Following their excursions, we first saw Shaquille and Kirsten talk about their plans as he wishes to work out and she was just too tired. Now, they discuss attraction. Now, as much as he is still getting butterflies, which I was happy to see, and he was very, very vocal about it. Take a look.
Butterflies in my stomach when I first saw you, like.
So what about now when I wake up in the morning next to you? No makeup.
I think that's what I like you the most.
You're definitely growing on me.
Growing?
I know.
What?
Most said it's about that husband, so.
What? You weren't attracted to me at first?
At first, I wasn't really attracted to you. To your bald head. Once I, continue to spend time with you, I definitely feel a little bit more attracted to you.
Honestly, I did feel awkward, and she said that she wasn't initially attracted to me. But I think the physical attraction grows, and she's finding things in me that she really likes. Embrace, my bald head, like she always like placing her hand on my head, like rubbing over my head. So I think she likes the bald head.
However, with Kirsten, she admits that she wasn't immediately smitten, but her feelings are changing. But she's not much of a kisser, though, and she goes into detail about that.
It's definitely me. Like, I can be very affectionate, but I've never been big on kissing. We're working on all of that. It takes some baby steps for me sometimes, so we're taking baby steps.
Yeah, she talks about how physical touch is her love language and explains that she's been reluctant to kiss because she's not much of a kisser to begin with, and then let alone kissing a stranger. And I guess that reassures Shaquille. Meanwhile, Clint and Gina share some snacks and drinks while sitting on their bed in robes and discussing their dynamic. Now, she explains that she is not needy. She's really independent. But she's noticing her interest in him is growing, which is a promising sign. Now, their progress seemed to take 5 steps backward when the two of them are over at a seaside cabana and Gina brings up her lack of physical attraction to Clint.
Get your hair braided?
No, it's probably being braided naturally by the wind.
It's getting natural dreadlocks?
Getting super curly. What a nice vacation. This has turned into this has exceeded expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
So we click, right? Just back and forth.
It's been good.
Get along really well.
I agree.
And that's unmistakable and undeniable.
I agree. I think the one thing, it's interesting, the one thing that I was like, I don't really vibe with redheads or gingery features.
For her, verbalize that so early in a relationship, I'm disappointed.
That's what you are. And so I was like, okay, he's a gingery, not my typical, just
Heard.
How do you feel on that?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, Gina admitted the redheads and gingery features aren't usually her type, and you can tell Clint is clearly offended, but it doesn't appear that Gina realizes that that's the case. And yeah, check out the after party because Shaq put her on notice about that. Then we head over to Jasmine and Eris' little seaside meal where it seems to begin seriously until he shocks her by asking what her favorite sex position is. Now, at first, Jasmine laughed it off, but ultimately she engages, noting that, she ain't against sex. It's just that she's more modest publicly and doesn't like discussing it in an open way on camera. And I know the production had to push that one. And then the next day, we saw them playing Frisbee by the ocean, where Eris learned that his wife is left-handed and reveals to her that he's never been in love with a woman before, raising multiple red flags in this process. And the question is that going to sit well with her? Only time is going to tell. So another fancy dinner we can move over to is Dominique and McKinley, which begins with her nearly falling down the ground with them high heels that she had on. But McKinley was there to rescue her. Now, while they have a conversation over their meal, they make plans, and McKinley shares his appreciation for her, pushing him out of his comfort zone. And then we then see that they ended their night by enjoying dessert in the pool, building their sexual chemistry. Nicole and Chris also have a fancy dinner too, where they actually get to talk about love. And he admits that he's not there yet, even though she was like, "Do you love me yet?" He was like, not yet. But he said that he can't imagine falling in love with her soon. Now, the topic of kids is also approached, and she admits that it's not something that she's eager for, but she isn't against having kids. And Chris wants at least 2 kids, so that might be a problem for them in the future. And then finally, Kirsten and Shaquille continue to deepen their bond over their dinner. Now, when he tells her he tends to overthink things, Kirsten tells Shaquille that they don't have to be perfect and that they can just be themselves around each other. And I mean, with this particular scene, it definitely looked like they were moving in a positive direction. But the question is, can she get her attraction on board when it comes to him and hopefully be able to kiss the guy? That's the other thing. So we have to stick around and see, and look like next week is going to go on a dark spiral turn. We do have finally what was revealed with who our swapping partners are, because that was the twist this season. And yes, it was revealed that it is actually Clint and Dominique. So as much as I guess, Gina wasn't attracted to his red hair and gingery features, yeah. And next week we also see that he said that he dates slender women. Yeah, that's a whole new issue. And then that whole kissing swap, which set a whole new frenzy between their other spouses, of course, Gina and McKinley. So we got to stay tuned, because look like it's about to get crazy. Okay, so let's get the conversation started down in the comment section. What do you think about our couples now? They're 5 days into their honeymoon. Do you think that they're making steps forward? Some of them are looking like they're taking steps back, especially when it comes to Gina and Clint and her preference and what she's attracted to, which is not someone of, gingery features or red hair. And then, of course, we saw the preview of him saying that the women he dated in his past is a lot more slender. And then, of course, now with Clint swapping, kissing Dominique, that's a whole nother ball of wax to talk about. So let me know your thoughts. So I hope you enjoyed this recap. Stay tuned for other updates and recaps on this channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Bye.